them having to go to work. But that's not necessarily true too, because children and wives were used as part of the labor on people's farms.
Oh, so that's why some people had a lot of wives, so they can use them.
So it's not like she wasn't.
Thank God I wasn't born back then, because I can't imagine.
So the idea is that I could just marry and stay home and not do nothing. That wasn't true either for an average person. If a rich person, they may have
maids and cooks.
But a rich person in no generation has ever been the average person.
Right.
It's always been the top 5%.
Right.
Right. So people run their mouth and they say all these things they don't know about.
Yeah. Well, ask your father. Okay, and ask your mom how she dealt with your father.
Yeah.
So everybody has their own story.
And we're all guilty of it, because I'm guilty of it. I'm just a little bit aware now that it's a thing that I should help whenever I can, even if it's as simple as delegating things to teenagers, or even as simple as something like that. Make sure little thing. All right, so we have a comment here. We're going to talk about interest and marriage, of course. But how does this affect interest in a marriage? My husband is like another child. Can you already pick up where this is going? My age gap is only 3 years apart, so he doesn't know how to do some things I can do. What's that, like cooking?
I don't know.
I don't know how to do some things he could easily accomplish. Oh, some acknowledgement there. My husband can't take care of himself or make his own food because my son has autism, which means my son will hurt himself if we leave them together. What?
It's my other child.
He's my other child. All right, so did you understand what this person told me?
I think this person is complaining that she's not getting help from a spouse, basically. They have an autistic kid, and you know how that is. It's a lot of work and a lot of pressure. And the husband is not helping out. It's basically adding to our issues. I don't know, is the husband okay? If he's okay, then you need to have a conversation with him. If conversation is not helping, maybe you guys need to go to seek like a support program for parents taking care of autistic kids, because sometimes they enlighten you on how you can help each other. Because when it comes to stuff like this, honestly, I don't know much about it, but the only thing I can say is seek some support. I won't say, because you don't know how he's handling.
So let's leave the autism part out a little bit. Okay? You already spoke well to that. Okay. Is my husband acting like another child? Is that a real thing?
I think there's some women that feel that way.
Like, what would make a woman feel that way?
If she's overwhelmed with all the chores, if she's overwhelmed with finances, if the guy is not doing his part.
What if she's doing the finances? Can she still feel?
She can still feel that way, because she can feel.
So it comes down to chores.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like he doesn't clean after himself or something.
I mean, that could really piss someone off as an adult. When you come in, you don't put your stuff where they're supposed to go. And imagine I've been cleaning the whole house the whole day, and the next minute you just come, drop your jacket here, drop your shoes here. I can see how annoying that is. And if you talk to most women, most married women, they don't think that's cool at all. It's one of our pet peeves.
You notice I'm yawning?
Of course you're yawning. Because you're not the one doing the housework. It's easy for you to yawn.
Okay. So it sounds
so imagine, let me put it this way. Our Tumi now, okay? You know how we came into your office and you said, it seems like somebody's been here.
I feel like somebody came here.
That's what it feels like. When you feel like someone came in here and moved your stuff around, and something in you is like, what the? If you know for a fact that somebody's been here, you will address it and say, Tony, what are you doing in my office? Please don't go there again. Because you didn't put things in the right order.
Right.
So I think that's what it feels like for women and their husbands when they throw stuff around.
Right. Obviously we live in a different time and age. This is the part where some of the gentlemen will be like, what is wrong with you? Some people will say, go marry your mother if you're looking for some men. Like, we just watched a video earlier. The guy said, you're not my queen. My mother is my queen. Remember that viral video?
For the men, let's say their mother this, their mother that. Please make sure you ask your father what he went through being married to your mother, okay? Please make sure you get details, okay?
Before you run your mouth.
Don't run your mouth.
So right now,
has a
one of the biggest talking points is that your mother, right now on Clubhouse, guys are saying, your mother did not go through anything. Stop coming here and telling us your mother went through so much and you don't want to go through what your mother went through. There's a lot of those talk to, and, people want the traditional thing. They want the traditional woman.
Yes.
And one of the guys pushed against them yesterday, who he got checked for not being humble because he wasn't married to checking people. But he made a good submission somewhat, which is like, if you're like back then too, the wife would marry somebody who is rich enough to take care of them without them having to go to work. But that's not necessarily true too, because children and wives were used as part of the labor on people's farms.
So that's why some people had a lot of wives, so they can use them.
Yeah, so it's not like she wasn't
Thank God
working.
I wasn't born back then, because I can't imagine.
So the idea is that, I could just marry and stay with my not doing it. That wasn't true either for an average person. If a rich person, they may have
maids and cooks.
But a rich person in no generation has ever been the average person.
Right.
It's always been the top 5%.
Right.
Like that,
Right.
So people run their mouth and they say all these things they don't know about.
Yeah. Go and ask your father. Okay. And ask your mom how she dealt with your father.
Yeah.
So everybody has their own story.
And we're all guilty of it, because I'm guilty of it. I'm just a little bit aware now that it's a thing that I should help whenever I can. Even if it's as simple as delegating things to teenagers, or even as simple as something like that, make sure little things, it doesn't have to be house chores all over the place, but little things can go a long way in relieving or making life easier for your spouse.
Right.
But I have seen that complaint quite a bit. My husband is like another child, meaning you have to cater to the children, I have to worry about you.
Yeah.
If she's already catering to the children, I think it's fair to say that she wouldn't want to have to cater to you at that children level. Of course, there's nothing wrong with the wife. I would love my wife loves to cater to me, but I also don't like when she feels overwhelmed, like
you do.
Like I'm one of the children.
Right.
I find,
in fact, you're not traditional, because since we've been married, you know how some people, you have to set the table,
dining
all
table
that before they eat. Sometimes I even have to say, baby, have you eaten? Do you want something? Like, you really don't care about that. You can get into the kitchen and do whatever you want for yourself. You see the food, you serve yourself. Some men have never been into their own kitchen.
And every time I get a plate, it's a big deal, because that's food in my stomach, right? It's a big deal. I appreciate that, right? So, especially when my children are taken care of. My own thing, I'm always wondering, what if I have to be the one to take care of the children? How much will my life change if I have this responsibility? Right now we're taping. We started taping at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m.
Right.
Because you would have taken care of the babies before, right? So that 2 hours before that, I don't have to worry about that, because you have to worry about, even if you have to work outside the house, right? You're calling in, making sure they're eating.
Right.
Like, if I have to worry about that, I would, but I don't. Right? So imagine I'm not one of the people. So I think the solution, because the person that's complaining is who we want to address, right? The solution is definitely a conversation. Yeah. If a conversation is not working, first, second, third time, counseling. We can't keep beating the dead horse, right? Ask for counseling. If he says he doesn't want to go counseling, doesn't need counseling, go to individual counseling and learn the skills of getting your husband to help you. It is a skill set.
It is.
It's not rocket science.
No, it's
but
not.
it is a skill set, right? And the problem that most people make is that they dwell in it and stay there and then suffer, and then they build resentment, and then they're tired.
And then you blow up.
And they pull the plug. Boom! And then they become 80% of women initiating divorce. And the guy is caught up and He's not looking for therapy all over. Yeah. So, but I could see how if a woman is feeling this way, her interest will lower.
Yes.
And then
Attraction will go
then
down.
men end up with she's withholding sex from her.
Right.
Dude, she doesn't want to have sex. That's just doesn't want to have sex.
Right.
All right. The next question is why not? That question you need to authentically, thoroughly ask that question. But this is the kind of stuff that leads to lowered interest in a woman. A woman who is experiencing this will not feel right doing anything
and she's probably underappreciated. She probably feels underappreciated as well.
Right.
You know, because oftentimes too, you see like men. Men don't do it on purpose. Put their children. We say women do that, but men too do that. Like put their children first ahead of what?
Oh yeah, men do that.
Oh, my baby's on. Especially if it's,
I don't do that. I naturally don't do that because I'm like, what is?
Yeah.
But I know men do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know men who they especially if it's like a princess type of situation.
Yes, if it's girls, they'll be all over their girls, and then they neglect their wives.
And then the woman starts to be jealous of her own children.
Can you imagine how terrible? Yeah, it's real.